Darkcast Network. Welcome to the dark side of podcasts.
90% of crimes can be prevented by just paying attention. Hey everybody, welcome back to Crime Over Cocktails. I'm Tiffany, your host, and today I'm here with my guest, Patti Stewart. She is the founder of Defense in Heels and also a stalking survivor. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
Definitely. I mean, how can I not?
Yeah. I love your website. So it's Defense in Heels, but even if they are 6-inch heels.
Yes, exactly. Well, I mean, you and I have already talked about this. We're tall, but sometimes we want to put on some super tall heels and you need to know how to walk in them properly, but also how to protect yourself while you're in the heels. Because most people don't realize that, especially a pair of stilettos, those things are dangerous. But we're women. We need to protect ourselves. You need to know how to protect yourselves. So yeah, I just do it in heels.
Yeah, you could poke somebody's eye out.
Uh-huh. Exactly. And that's one of the things I teach. Hey, who's going home tonight? Me or the bad guy? Let's be real. I'm going home.
Amen, sister.
Right?
So why don't you explain how all this came together?
Okay. So I started Defense in Heels. Ooh, long time ago. Long time ago. I think my kids were babies. No, it was before them. So I started it as a way to teach women. Because at the end of the day, we all need self-defense classes, and we probably took one in middle school. But what do we remember from that? Because, that was more than 30 years ago for me. So, I can't remember that long ago. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast. So I had to come up with something that was a little more fun. So it started with, I was working with the police department, and the type A males were teaching the female self-defense classes. Most of the women in the class were victimized. I'm a victim. So I was an assistant instructor, and I was getting shut down by these guys in the classes. And I was their friends. I was their co-instructors, and they were shutting me down. I'm a type A female. You're shutting me down, dude. You're doing something wrong. And it wasn't that they were doing anything wrong. It's just that, you're already in a vulnerable position when you're doing anything self-defense related, especially when you're doing the hands-on stuff and somebody's on top of you. Even women who have never been a victim are going to shut down. That's just what we do. Somebody's on top of us. So these guys were shutting down women, and I kind of pushed them out of the way, and I took over. And then I realized I love teaching. My favorite is when you're teaching somebody who says, oh, dude, I can't do that. I have no idea. I'm too small. I'm too weak, whatever it is. And then you teach them the moves, and they work through the moves, and they get this fire in their eye when they realize that they can actually do it and they can outpower the bad guy. Oh my goodness, that fire in the eye gives me my passion. That is why I keep going every single day. So fast forward, now I'm teaching and doing a little bit here and there. I've got some stun guns and some pepper sprays. I'm selling those. And then I get myself a stalker. And wow, was that fun. Yeah, that one actually completely crumbled my self-defense business. Kind of went from a high on top of the world, I can help everyone and do everything, to I can't leave my house. It crumbled me because literally he was following me, following my business. If I posted about where my business would be, he would be there. If I drove my car, because I had branding on my car at the time, he would follow me. So I could not work my business. I could not live my life. He knew the routine of my children because we had dated for a few weeks, and he knew where I would be with my kids, and it just progressively got worse. So I had to shut down the business for a few years and kind of get myself together, go through even more therapy to get right back to kicking butt and taking names again. And that's where we are.
That doesn't give you the passion to do it. I don't know what will.
Oh my goodness, seriously. Because I always say, my goal in life is that you will never be a victim. I don't want you to fall into any of the crime stats. I don't want my children to fall into any of the crime stats. And it's because I do multiple times over. most of those crime stats that people are, throwing at you, I fall into. And I never want my children or the women or children I'm working with to fall into them. So I always say, like, I'll take the badness so that you can live your good life. But like, I've truly lived that through this now too, getting a stalker and him reappearing and all the craziness that comes with it.
And you only dated for a few weeks?
Yeah, that's the pathetic part. Yeah, it was like 3 weeks. Something like little as that. Because it was just one of those like red flags. Is this a red flag, or is it because I'm fresh to dating? Talk it out with friends and they're like, no, dude, you're fresh to dating. I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure there's a red flag. Another one pops up. Pretty sure there's a red flag. No. It's, are you sure? And it just, I did not follow my own advice. I always tell women, listen to your gut. And I didn't, because I let other people tell me that I was crazy. And I believed them until like when I finally laid it all out on the line and I was like, he did this and this and this and this and this and this and this. I said this, he did this. I told him no, he proceeded to, like, all that. And then they were like, oh, well, you're not crazy. What the fuck did I do this whole damn time? I know I'm not crazy. That's why I talk to you every step of the way. Like, what the hell? Come on. Like, oh, yeah. So now that I'm on a tangent. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, no, I totally get that, because sometimes you reach out to your girlfriends and you're like, please tell me, is this okay? Mm-hmm. Is this normal? Like, and if they validate the other person, like, oh no, that's cute, or this is that, or how do you know you just weren't going to the same place at the same time? How do you know that, mm-hmm. It's just all these excuses that we give these perpetrators when they really are.
Oh my goodness.
Harm.
Yes. Really? And it's all the way around, because we all, oh no, are you sure? Let's go ahead and look at the good in people. No, he wouldn't do that to you. Like, no offense. I look at the bad in people. Like, you have to prove yourself to me at this point, because everybody's out for themselves. And clearly this guy was out for himself and just, he took my business with him. So
that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
What made you think to do the business before even the stalking?
Yeah, no, I'm a statistic. I fall into a lot of them. And so before it was, I don't want anybody else to. I don't want them to be a statistic. I don't want them to experience what I experienced. I don't want them to feel how I felt and go through the amount of therapy I had to go through. I wanted to prevent that and to empower these women and to educate them into being a better version of themselves, building that confidence. Especially as women, we're not gifted that confidence, and we're not built that confidence growing up. That's something we have to figure out after a midlife crisis or two. And so I wanted to be able to empower women before that, like, especially if we can help you prevent one of those midlife crises, hopefully before something happens to you. Like, let's get you the tools and the education so that nothing happens to you. Or when you start to see those red flags, you run now, not later.
Yes, that's what I'm constantly trying to preach to people on my show is do not ignore the red flags. They're there.
They're there for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm guessing you had a prior incident to this stalker.
Yes. Yep. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I fell into a few of the different statistics. Domestic violence, went through that. Rape, went through that. Child abuse, that kind of stuff. Like, I fall into a lot of the categories, and we have to be the change. We all say we want to be the change, and like, that's what they preach and whatnot, but like, you have to do the stuff, but you also have to work on yourself to be able to work through all of that. Because most people, if something happens to them, they also don't do the work on themselves. So it's kind of one of those, like, I got to do all of this, and I have to change, like that starfish story where, the guy's throwing the starfish out, maybe I help the one. I want to help more than one. I want to make sure that, the one is thousands. I want to make sure that we change those crime stats because they're only getting worse. Every 3 years when those crime stats come out, they're getting worse, not better. Now, part of that is because of the ease of reporting and the Me Too movement and educating people. So that's a good thing. However, these statistics are horrendous and we need to change that. So that's kind of been my mission since I was a kid. Like even before I was teaching, it was one of those, you protect your friends, you protect the people around you, you protect your siblings, even though you're going to be the first one to beat them up. Like nobody else is allowed to, just me. So we had to do that, and I had to just kind of figure all of that out and help everybody as much as I could.
Right. I also feel like if you did have like childhood abuse and, generational abuse, sexual abuse, any of that, it's easier to fall prey into all these other categories.
100%. And studies actually show that. Like they do legitimate psychological and physiological studies on this to see if, they say the nurture nature thing, but if you are a victim, are you more likely to be a victim? And the answer is yes. You're also more likely to be a perpetrator because this is your natural grounds. Like they always say, people in domestic violence will continue that cycle. Same thing with sexual abuse. Same thing with, any kind of physical abuse. And it's because that's your baseline normal. So if you don't change yourself, you cannot change everybody else. Like you're going to continue this vicious cycle.
And sometimes they don't even realize that it's something wrong because it was done to them. And so they've been conditioned to think, oh, well, this is what love is, or this is normal.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's the crazy part because you're right. Like that is their normal. Oh, well, he hit me when I got, when he got mad at me. That's normal because that's what my dad did to me. That's not what you do to your kids. We got to break that. Same thing, sexual abuse. Like, well, it was okay for my dad to do this to me. It's okay for, me to do it to someone else. No, like child abuse is child abuse. Sexual abuse is sexual abuse. Like, let's stop this all. But you got to figure out that baseline. And that's what most people don't realize is the baseline is different for everybody, but also that like your version of normal and mine are two different things. But we got to figure out, also the legal version because it might not be the same as the legal version.
Usually never is.
No, I mean, a lot of us are going to go ahead and teeter-totter on that line anyways, but let's go ahead and make sure that, we're doing things that are right and real and good, not, hurting people.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I try to tell people. Like, just because shit might have happened to you when you were young, do not repeat the cycle because you're not doing anyone justice, not yourself, not the person that you're doing this to. Like, you got to cut it out. It stops now.
Right. But you have to be the one that changes so that you can change the rest of them. Yeah. But that's like easier said than done. Yeah. And who wants to do that much work on themselves? Do you know how much money I've spent on therapy? Like, it's freaking ridiculous. Now, given I'm a completely different person and like, it's a good thing that I did it. But one, they tell you when you are doing things wrong. Like, you have a licensed professional saying, hey, dude, this is not good. You should change this about yourself. And then you're like, I'm paying you to tell me that I should change myself. Like, I don't think I like this. But, you have to. It's kind of one of those things to be that change. And yeah, it's a lot of work.
Should be your aha moment.
Yeah, come on. Yes, it should be. But let's go ahead and look at the cycle. Like, how many times do you have to make a bad decision before you realize it's a bad decision?
Maybe a few.
Yeah, see, exactly. How many red flags do I need to see before I realize that it's actually a red flag? Yeah, because if we take the whole therapy and working on ourselves to change the behavioral pattern we grew up with, and we compare it to dating, it's literally the same pattern. It's, hey, we see this guy. He's cute. I like him. Oh, wait, he treated me this way. Oh, wait, he forgave me, or I forgave him, or, oh, hey, look, it's literally that cycle. Well, the same thing when you go to therapy. Hey, look, they told me I'm doing this wrong. I need to change this about myself. I don't want to change this about myself. I change this. I don't like the results from these changes. It's both a cycle. It's pain in the butt. But
it is. It's so worth it, though.
It is 100%. I 1,000 bazillion quadrillion % agree that the therapy is worth it. And you got to work through your stuff and you got to be the change. It's just a pain in the ass the entire way.
Oh, hell yeah. Like, we should all just be born perfect.
Right? But then life would be so boring. So boring.
So do most of the people who take your classes, are they usually all survivors themselves, or they're trying to prevent that part?
I think it's a little bit of a mixture of both. So I do work in some of the safe houses. So of course they have been traumatized more than anybody can ever imagine. But then like the normal public classes, some of them are survivors. And I always start all my classes with, hey, if any of these moves are not comfortable for you, just let me know. That kind of thing. Cause like we do chokeholds and, you know, we're on top of each other and whatnot in the classes. And if you've been in that situation, even in a training environment, it's scary. So we have those women who are victimized. But then the other half of the class, you know, they're just wanting to learn something to make sure nothing ever happens to them, which is great because you also see both sides of the spectrum feed off each other in the classes. And it's usually, I always make everything in the class a positive one. So they're saying like, hey, you know, I can't do the chokes because I was choked. But then you'll see this girl on the other side that's like, I don't ever want to be choked. So show me how to do this so that I never get choked in my life. And those two will pair up with each other and they'll work with each other. And it's great because most of the time they actually build each other up and they build each other's confidence so that they help each other, which is awesome because then they're both leaving empowered. And most of the time they'll both work with each other. Like they won't work with anyone else. They won't work with the bad guy. They won't work with anything, but they'll work with each other and they'll at least learn the moves to help them. And I've had multiple women tell me after the class, they've had to actually use these moves and how well it works. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay. So I have an amazing story now. So Miss Nevada, a couple years ago, I told you I work with a lot with the pageants. So she comes up to me and she was 2 or 3 years removed now. I had worked with her when she had won. And she comes up to me in another pageant. She goes, hey, I just want to let you know your stuff works. I'm like, oh, thanks. We're like backstage doing stuff. So it's not really like a time to place. But then she pulls me aside, you know, a couple hours later. And no, I just want to let you know, like, so you taught me that class, you know, 2 years ago. And I went through it. And she's like, and I practice it hard. I'm like, oh, well, thanks. Like, I'm glad, you know. And she goes, I was in a domestic violence relationship at the time. And she's like, and I didn't know how to get out. Because I thought it was normal. It's what I watched growing up. So it was just what it was, you know? She's like, and then one day he's on top of me. He's choking me. I can't breathe. And she's like, and all I could hear in my head was you telling me how to get out of it. And she was like, and I did exactly what you told me to do. And I got out of it. She's like, it worked. Like your move really worked. I got out of it. And she's like, and it wasn't, you know, I didn't leave him then. She was like, but I did. And she's like, and it was because of that class. And she's like, it took me 2 years to finally leave him after that. But your moves worked. It helped me get out. She was like, I couldn't imagine where I would be, you know, or what would have happened to me if I didn't move. She's like, but she was like, I just heard your voice over and over and over telling me what to do. And she was like, I swear I sat there for 10 minutes just hearing you yell at me. And she's like, and then she's like, and I hear you yelling. And she's like, and I know what to do. But it wasn't until I did it that I was like, oh my God, this works. And she got out of it. And thank God now she's out of the relationship. She's filed her restraining orders. She's gotten away from him. She moved. Like she did everything she needed to do. It took the time because it always takes the time. You have to have the resources, which is not always accessible. But that was like one of my favorite aha moments because it was years. I honestly didn't remember her when she walked up to me just because I work with so many women and it, you know, but then she told me all of this. I was like, oh my God. So now every year when I see her, you know, it's a great big hug and how are you doing? And she gives me an update on everything. And yeah, that's one of my favorites.
No, but that is like, that had to make you almost like tear up because
you're like, did. And I gave her a great big hug. And I think I held on for like 5 minutes. Like, yeah, no, it was a good one. Like, yeah.
See, your shit's empowering.
It is. It really is. Like, you just need to take the freaking class because it really is. And all of my instructors are awesome because I have 2 other instructors that help me with the classes as well. And they're freaking bomb.coms too. And it's awesome. Like, I mean, if nothing else, it's a great workout. You're going to be sore for a few days. And then you know what to do if a bad guy tries to beat you up.
Right. I wish you were in Florida.
I mean, I do go there every once in a while. So,
hey, come teach me some shit.
Yes. I'm down. We can schedule a class.
Yes. Do you do any like over Zoom or is it all in person?
So I do it in person because what I do is I put a little bit of kinesiology in there. Like you need to be able to work the moves in your body form. And I can't see your entire body form online. Like I can a little, but like I can't fully tweak you. And I'll be real, like I touch your body. I'm going to twist you this way and be like, nope, do it this way. And then you'll figure out why like I'm saying do it this way, so that it helps with the movement of things. And I just can't, I can't push you on a virtual call. It just doesn't work as well.
I could see that.
Yeah. But I do travel.
Because like, give it a few years, you never know what we'll come up with. There'll be like arms that come out of the computer.
Right? I could see that, but that'd be a little creepy too.
It would be.
Yeah. But they're totally going to do it one day. Look at everything else. My watch and my phone have already popped up 3 times saying, are you trying to say this to me right now? God knows what else is doing that right now.
Yeah, you never know what is going to come out next, but I think this is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Is it like a series? They have so many like to do before, like, is there like a graduation or?
So we do a couple different kinds. I do have one at the college where there is like an official graduation. We do certificates and all that kind of stuff. And then the normal one, it's just a 3-hour class. We have 3 different levels to it though. And then, so you kind of progress with those levels. And then I always say you need to take a self-defense class quarterly. Whatever you're taking, take it quarterly. This is a use or lose muscle movement skill. So if you're not practicing it, your body forgets what to do. So you need to continue to do it. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yes, definitely. So self-defense classes quarterly. They're always fun too. And it's a great workout. So even if you're only working out once every 3 months, like, hey, it's extra bonus points. I can work off the wine I drink tonight.
I see the 6-pack. It'll be gone in a few weeks, but it's there now.
Right? Exactly. You miss 6-pack beer, right? Because, like, let's be real.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I like my food a little too much to have a real 6-pack. So I'll take a 6-pack beer, six-pack of tacos. I'm down for that.
I want to come hang out with you.
Yes, please, dude. I'm in Vegas. Come on out.
Do any of the women have issues when you bring in the bad men?
Yes. So I do it a couple different ways. So if I'm working in like a safe house, I'll be the bad guy. So that way the women, they get to know me. It is super scary when that bad guy suit is on. Even when you know the person, because it's now, all that weight, even though the bad guy suit's light, but it's big and it's bulky and it's now on top of you. So I do that. And then I also have the classes where I will bring in just a random bad guy at the end of the day. And then they all get to beat him up. But it really depends on the class and who's in the class. If I have a ton of victims in the class and they're vocal about that, I'm going to be the bad guy. I would rather you beat me up at the end of the day so that we can talk through everything as opposed to you freaking out when a bad guy is on top of you. Yeah, so it really just depends. And then I do have some ladies that will just come to every self-defense class I have because they just really want to beat up a random stranger at the end of the day and take out all their aggression out from the last 3 months onto that bad guy. Oh my God, these ladies love it. They are living their highest life when they get to just beat the hell out of this guy. And the guys, I pay them pretty decent, but half the time they're like, oh, wait, that's a really good kick. Do it again. I dare you to do it again.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my guys are good because they know, hey, these are victims, or hey, these are women that are trying to empower themselves. And so it's not, I'm just going to hire some random Joe Blow or like the random guy that emailed me last week that told me he would like to get kicked in the crotch and that no padding is required and he would pay me for that position. Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, screenshot, delete, send it out. Hey, look what I just got to the girls. But yeah, no, we don't hire creeps like him. My people are background checked. My people are good. We can trust them. They also know what I'm training and how I'm training it because I want them to be one of the safe people in the room for these ladies.
Right. Why are people so fucking weird?
Dude, like I should totally post that screenshot, but I'm like, what the hell is going through people's head? Like, and he was offering to pay me a pretty penny too. Oh, I almost took him up on it just because I'm like, dude, I'm going to pay like my mortgage and my rent. With just that. I'm like, But I was like, okay, ethically speaking, I can't do this. Like, come on. But, just like we always say, hey, we could have a sugar daddy until, ethics goes through your head. Exactly. But it's like, oh, that would be so interesting. But, it's going to be some random creeper. And I'm like, no, hard pass.
Oh, yeah. You don't want him to step foot anywhere near.
No. And then I was like, I background check everyone. So I'm like, what's going to pop up when I run your background? Because clearly you're missing a few screws, dude.
Well, yeah. I was going to ask, so you literally, the women are to give everything they got, really fight?
Yeah. So the bad guy suits that I buy, they're designed for police officers, and it's designed for police officers to go 80% against each other. So 80% of a police officer's power against another police officer. So these women can go to town on us in these bad guy suits, and you're barely feeling anything at all.
No shit.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I mean, it's empowering for me too. Like, we get to take out our anger, but you're really learning the skills. Like, yes, you can kick the crap out of them, but you're learning the skills as well. But you don't have to worry about hurting them because you're not going to. As long as you hit the suit, these guys are not going to feel anything.
Right. They got helmets and everything. Just
oh yeah,
in case.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing to sign up for. Please beat the shit out of me.
Yeah. So the male friends that I do have as the bad guys, when they come in, those guys have worked in this industry. They're bodyguards, they're security, they're cops. So these guys understand what these women are doing. It's not just some random, dude that works at Walmart that wants to get beat up on, or some lawyer who wants to get beat up on his free time. These are guys who actually know what the training is, so it helps. I feel like that makes them a better bad guy. Also, most of them have a lot of the same training I do. And so they know when the women are doing the things incorrectly, and they're able to, if I miss something, they're able to pick up on it and help me to redirect the woman to correct the body position to make sure that they know what they're doing properly and that these women don't get hurt in the process.
Oh, that's badass. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's the point of going to self-defense class if you're going to get hurt? You need to know what to do to not get hurt. That's our goal here. Not get hurt.
Total sense. But I'm thinking if I'm on the ground and I'm like, I don't be like, no, move that foot in a little bit more. Really?
Yeah. And we'll show them too. We'll show them, be like, okay, so this is what you're doing now and feel how it feels. And they'll be like, yeah, okay. Now, if we were to tweak this way, how does it feel now? And they'll be like, oh my God, that's so much better. So much easier. Yeah, exactly. So let's go ahead and practice it this way. So that, and you have to build the muscle memory we were talking about earlier, you have to do it 100 times in a row for your body to start to develop the muscle memory. So that's why we try to correct it early on. But, sometimes the bad guys will see something I didn't see. Or the women, will go into fight, flight, freeze. And then they'll freeze during the attack situation. I'm like, oh, no, remember, we're trying to get through this. We're trying to do fight or flight. No longer freezing. Fight or flight. But we also work with them for a couple of hours before we go into the bad guy stuff.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Form. It's all about form.
Yes, it is. So much so.
How many show up in 6-inch heels?
Okay, so I have the class with the heels and the class without the heels. So it depends on which one I'm teaching. If I'm doing the one without the heels, of course nobody shows up in heels. But I do a class where we literally do the whole class in heels, and those women, they're all in 6-inch and higher.
Oh my God.
Yes. Oh my God. It's so much fun because I did one a couple weeks ago where they all were in 6-inch heels, and they're all entertainment girls. So they work at the clubs. They work at the strip clubs here. They work at the dance clubs. They're bartenders. They're waitresses. They all work in the industry here in Las Vegas. And so they were, all in their heels. And I was like, cool, we're going to step this up another level. And I was like, where's your mini skirts? I was like, because that's probably what you're going to be wearing, right? Yeah, absolutely. You're right. And I was like, hey, so that's how we're going to do the whole class. So we do the first little part without heels because I want them to learn the form. And I got to make sure these girls can walk in their damn heels. A lot of women cannot walk in heels, so we have to teach them how to properly walk in heels. As you point to yourself, we will teach you how to walk in heels. That's literally what we do is we teach them how to walk in heels and then we teach them the moves without the heels and then we bring in the heels so that they can see how it all works. I can totally send you a video too. It was so much fun because then these girls are all in their heels. Now we can't use the heels against the bad guy suit because it'll break the bad guy suit, but they can practice everything else. And so we'll have them practice without the heels on the bad guy suit and then with the bad guy suit, but without any actual hitting. So then that way they don't, poke out an eye in the bad guy suit.
Right. Do you ever have them practice it though with the heels, but like maybe like on the floor or something?
It's exactly. Yeah. So we'll practice it without heels and then we'll go to town and then we'll practice it with the heels and then we do it kind of more slow-mo. So what's cool about the attack mode? So when you are attacked, time slows down. It feels like 10 minutes and it's all slow motion. It's like 10 seconds. So we practice everything correctly and in the forms that we want them in with the heels, slow motion. Because in the attack situation, you're going to go full speed, but it doesn't feel like it. So that's how we'll incorporate the heels into it since we can't use the heels on the bad guys.
You thought of everything.
Yeah. Thanks. I've been around the block a little bit. I've done this for a few years. That, and it's one of those like every year I go get more education. I'm going to go get more trainings, more certifications because I want to bring the best of the best to these women. They deserve nothing less.
Absolutely. They deserve survival.
Hell yes. And to not be a statistic. Let's prevent that.
Absolutely. I mean, it could be daylight time and you are pushing your cart in Walmart parking lot and you can still get blindsided and you just never know. Never know.
No. And that's where awareness comes in because you need to be paying attention to your surroundings at all times.
Do you teach that kind of stuff too?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So during the hands-on self-defense, we talk about that throughout the entire class. And then I also have like a bunch of seminars and trainings and I even wrote a book. And it's all on like awareness and paying attention to what's going on around you. Because oddly enough, you ready? They did a statistic on this too. I love my statistics. 90% of crimes can be prevented by paying attention. If you're paying attention to your surroundings, if you're paying attention to what's going on, paying attention to the red flags, all that kind of stuff, because a bad guy will determine if you are his target in less than 7 seconds of watching you.
Wow.
Right? That's why awareness is so freaking important. And most people are like, oh no, it's okay. It's okay. I'll just play on my phone and walk and not pay attention to what's going on around me. That's what they're looking for. They want somebody who's not paying attention, who's not going to fight back. They don't want somebody who's paying attention. Exactly. You're the easy target. They want somebody that's not going to work. They don't want to put in work. They're bad guys for a reason. Like they're not doing the right stuff. They're doing the wrong stuff. So paying attention can stop most of that.
It's crazy to think how something so simple could mean so much, like life or death.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No. So I always say to think of yourself as a bobblehead. So a bobblehead will move from side to side, all around, paying attention. Well, a bobblehead's looking everywhere. That's what you need to do. So don't be like the weirdo that's like bobbing your head from side to side, but, pay attention and look around. Just don't be the weirdo bobblehead, but pay attention,
I'd kind of like to see somebody kind of just doing this.
If you look around, you'll see people like that. I don't know quite sure what they're on. You're going to see that. So,
I mean, yeah, clearly I would stay away, but I'd be like, well, look at that bobblehead over there.
Yeah, bobblehead, meth head, they're all the same. But we're more focusing on paying attention. We don't want that meth head to come too close to us. We want, or hey, if it's a family member that's a meth head, we need to make sure that we protect ourselves from them. That kind of stuff.
Oh, yes. Even your family, you can beat the shit out of them too.
Yeah. Well, 89% of the people who attack you are intimately known to you. It is your brother, your cousin, your uncle, your best friend, your boyfriend, your husband. 89%
scary.
Of the time. Yeah. And they only convict 2% of rapes nationwide. 2.
That's pathetic.
Yes, it is. Very much so. I love that every jurisdiction is a little bit different. So like here in Las Vegas, it's 12%. That's still only 12, but 12 is better than 2. Like I'll take a 12% odd over a 2% odd, but yeah. No, that's what's scary. And I mean, the fact that we know those people, it's not stranger danger like we were taught growing up. It's someone you know.
Right. Yeah, it's the scariest part of all of it.
Yeah.
What's your book called?
I can show you because we're on camera for each other. Just no one else. So it's a women's guide to self-defense, 5 steps to staying safe forever.
And she's got heels.
She's got heels. Yes, 6-inch heels, of course, and they're pink and they're cute.
They are cute. I'd kill myself in those, but they're cute.
We'll work on, teaching you how to walk in them. Yeah, so that's our book. It's on Amazon. And we go over the 5 steps of how to keep yourself safe. And awareness, of course, is definitely one of them. And I have a huge chapter on that, on how to pay attention and what to do. And then, of course, there's resources at the back as well.
Very good.
Yeah, well, we need them. In this day and age, you don't know what the hell's going on. And things are crazy and the world is changing and not exactly for the better right now. So we need to keep our head on a swivel and pay attention to what's going on and keep ourselves safe and keep the people closest to us safe as well.
Yeah, it's not getting any better out there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We need stricter laws. We need a lot.
Yeah, it's just getting crazy. And what's crazy though is like we keep making new laws and criminals aren't following them though.
Well, unfortunately, criminals, they seem to have more rights than the victims.
Yes. What the hell is going on with that right now? Like, that is completely ass backwards. We should be protecting the victims, and we're not. We don't even have resources in a lot of places for the victims. We're going to say, oh, we believe the bad guy over you, and we're not going to provide you any services. And, oh, good luck to you, but we'll go ahead and protect this guy.
You got to prove that he was guilty. I say, why don't you prove that he was innocent?
Right. Which we do have like the random cases where the women are lying.
Yes.
But for the most part, no. Children don't lie. Well, teenagers. But like little kids don't lie. So same thing with that. Why are we saying we believe the bad guy over the kid or the bad guy over the woman? Like semen can stay inside of you for 3 days. So if you're like a sexual assault victim, you can, if you don't shower or anything, you can go get tested and still get that semen out of you. But if you wore a condom, there's nothing there.
Right.
So how are we we need more things to protect the victims and prevent them from becoming victims as opposed to helping those bad guys.
Absolutely. 100.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever come to Florida, I really want a lesson.
Deal. I'm in. What part of Florida are you in?
Tampa Bay.
Oh, too easy. I got a friend out there.
Oh.
We'll make this happen.
All right. Hell yeah. Be cool if you had like a mobile thing. I mean, there's one of you, so I don't know how that would work.
Well, we can always do something too. Like we're bringing in your listeners and have like them come out and take a class with you. That would be awesome.
That really would be awesome. Hell yeah.
So guys, comment on her stuff and tell her she wants a class so that I can come out there.
Yeah. And anybody in Las Vegas that wants to take your class, absolutely.
Oh, heck yes. Go to my website, defenseandheels.com.
I'll have the link too in the bottom of the show notes. So anybody who needs to come and find you will find you right there. How far out are you booking if people want to get in on your classes?
I think I have November and December on the website right now. And then, but I do book out further than that. That's just for the group classes. Private classes we do all the time as well.
Gotcha. Busy girl.
Yes, of course.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
No, in this day and age, And it keeps us out of trouble as well, so.
Yeah, and fit.
Yes, exactly. Means I can have more tacos.
And beer.
Heck yes.
Yeah.
Do you know somebody who needs this class? I mean, I need this class. The link will be in the bottom of the show notes. Also in the show notes is how to get a hold of me. Make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, leave that 5-star review. All right, you guys, we'll talk crime another time. Bye.